Hey, what do it, y'all? Swish Entertainment putting y'all tunes up. All y'all favorite rappers and celebrities like first on these little favorite down for y'all first. Please like, comment, subscribe this video, hit the notification bell as well. That'd be great. Search your channel and push on tunes of this story. Now today we'll be talking about the rapper known as Tay-K, as recently he was sentenced in connection to a case that would accuse him of having murdered a cameraman in the year 2017. The 187th District Court Judge Stephanie Boyd would give her announcement on the jury's sentencing concerning the 24-year-old Tay-K just before the time of 10 p.m. last night on Tuesday. The court trial had given hours to people giving their testimony and debating whether Tay-K's hectic childhood should play a factor into how much time he will end up serving. The Texas jury had reached their verdict and made the decision that they will be giving Tay-K 80 years for the murder of Mark Anthony Saldivar, who was a photographer who had sadly lost his life to Tay-K in the year 2017. The judge Stephanie Boyd, in her closing statements for Tay-K court trial, can be quoted saying, "I do realize that while this is a lot of time, you're still alive. You can still better yourself, but the complainant in this case is deceased, and you need to internalize that the complainant in this case is deceased. You're going to have to make changes." So the judge Stephanie Boyd had conveyed to Tay-K that she is aware that the jury has slapped him with an extensive amount of years, but she had given a nod to the fact that Tay-K is still able to live his life, as he could have been found guilty of capital murder, which would have had the defendant facing life in prison or even the death penalty. Fortunately for Tay-K-47, or Tay-K he was only found guilty of murder, not capital murder. Stephanie Boyd had also spoken on the fact that the victim involved with this case is no longer amongst the living and had advised Tay-K to think deeply about what he has caused and go in the direction of making changes in his life. Now, the decision to opt for a murder charge instead of a capital murder charge was reached by the jury on Monday. Prosecutors stated that Tay-K had shot and killed a 23-year-old known as Mark Anthony Saldivar, who was a cameraman at a Chick-fil-A parking lot. This would follow Tay-K having attempted to rob a cameraman after he had picked him up in a vehicle, as he had asked him to take photos of him for a new song. Prosecutors, in addition, have asserted that Tay-K was only at the age of 16 at the time that he had committed the murder of Mark Anthony Saldivar. Tay-K's attorneys were critical of this case involving the defendant, saying that it relied too much on self-serving statements given by people that were in Tay-K's vehicle during the time of the shooting. These people, of course, serving as witnesses who were giving their testimonies in Tay-K's case. One of Tay-K's attorneys, John Hunter, has spoken on his behalf, saying Tay-K is not guilty of capital murder, or manslaughter, and the reason for that is very simple. You have to do it right, you have to do the work, and this case clearly demonstrates the work wasn't done. This statement was given by John Hunter last week, and it seems as if he was trying to convey the point that not enough work was done by the jury who determined the verdict of Tay-K. It seems as if the attorney is suggesting that those that were involved with investigating Tay-K's case had went off of insufficient evidence instead of gathering valid information. In the developing stages of this month's court trial, prosecutors have made the argument that Mark Anthony Saldivar was beaten, shot, and abandoned to die by Tay-K and his friends that had picked him up for a photo shoot. Tay-K's attorneys have spoken in defense of his name, saying that prosecutors were going off assumptions and guesswork, saying the witnesses had vested interest in this case. Yesterday on Tuesday, the defense will make arguments involving Tay-K, speaking on how much time he should be spending incarcerated. A forensic and neuropsychologist will serve the defense, as a fact witness will testify to Tay-K's mental abilities and potential limitations. The defense would acknowledge that Tay-K had come from a rough background, raveled in generational trauma, which will include violence, drug abuse, and prostitution. Not only that, but Tay-K and his siblings are being said to have been in and out of foster care and placed into abusive environments during their rough past. The psychologist had also pointed out that Tay-K was at a very young age at the time that he had committed the crime, being a minor at the age of 16, as previously stated. The psychologist will go on to point out that Tay-K's frontal lobe was not yet fully developed, which can play an essential role in the decision-making of a human. Tay-K's sister had also given her testimony, stating that the two of them were removed from their homes and placed into foster care. She claims that they were placed into the foster system due to their mother's addiction to drugs. During her testimony, she will reveal that both her and her younger brother Tay-K were abused by their foster mother, both mentally and physically. Tay-K's older sister, during her testimony, when speaking on their foster mother and how she had treated them while she had cared for them, has said, "We want her to love us, but she was always disappointed in us and we'd be accused for things we didn't even do." So Tay-K's older sister, when giving her testimony, had taken the approach on speaking on the dark past of Tay-K. It is quite clear that the rapper Tay-K had a rough upbringing and had to endure a difficult environment. The judge in Tay-K's court trial will bring up the information provided by his sister following the verdict being given yesterday on Tuesday. The judge Stephanie Boyd, when speaking on Tay-K, has said, "From what I can tell, his mother wasn't a good parent to him. His father wasn't a good parent to him. Child Protective Services was not good, and if you believe the testimony, I don't know why Child Protective Services will place children back with the father who put the children's mother in a hospital. Stephanie Boy in her statement seems to have made the assumption that those who were supposed to provide Tamar McKinstry with guidance had failed to be positive influences in his life. The judge had also expressed her confusion with Child Protective Services having made the decision to give Tamar McKinstry back to his father, as he is the man responsible for having put Tamar McKinstry's mother in the hospital. This case follows Tamar McKinstry being convicted of a previous crime, which had taken place in the year 2016. Tamar McKinstry was accused of having killed a 21-year-old man known as Ethan Walker in Tarrant County during a 2016 home invasion. By the month of July in 2019, Tamar McKinstry was found guilty of this crime and given 55 years for the murder of Ethan Walker. The judge, Stephanie Boy, yesterday had determined that the 80-year sentence that he was just given and the 55-year sentence will run concurrently. The judge had also reached another decision, which is that Tamar McKinstry is not allowed to contact Mark Anthony Saldivar's family unless for legal matters. The representative of Mark Anthony Saldivar's family, when reading the victim's statement, has stated that the victim's dreams, ambitions, aspirations, and goals were taken from him by you. So this case having finally reached its conclusion, it seems that Mark Anthony Saldivar's family had received the justice that they had coveted. Tamar McKinstry was already serving a lengthy sentence of 55 years. Now that he's been given 80 years, he will be spending even more time in incarceration. But yeah, let's go. Capitalize video on child things in the comments. Are you all surprised that it took so long to reach verdicts for both of these cases, given that these crimes were committed in both the years of 2016 and 2017? Are you all disappointed to see that the rapper was given such a lengthy sentence, given that he was slowly rising within the rap game? And to cap that off, did you all see Tay-K's sister give her testimony in his court trial? And if so, what do you all think of the details that she had given? Let all that be known in the comments. Yeah, that's gonna do it. I'm out.